Rock and Roll Geek Show 810.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA. Online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Friday, November 3rd, 2017, and it's 7:11 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. It has been a long time since I've actually just sat in the closet-sized studio and spun some tunes and just talked to you, my friends. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. Long time since I've done it, but I'm looking forward to it. Friday night, I'm going crabbing tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is the opening day of crab season. Actually, I'm all loaded up and ready to go, but it's calling for high winds and rain. I'm going to get up at probably about 4 in the morning, pile in my car. Everything's all loaded up, ready to go, and I'm going to drive down to Half Moon Bay. And if it's not too windy, I'm going to join hopefully a bunch of other kayakers. I'm going to go out and try to catch some Dungeness crab. It's the opening day of crab season. It's a tradition. I had just started kayaking last year, long after crab season already opened. So this is my first opening day of crab season. Looking forward to it if I can go out. But tonight, I'm looking forward to sitting here, drinking some beers, which I will take a sip of this fine Tecate now. Second one of the day. Oh, boy, that always the best. All right. Looking forward to sitting here, drinking some Tecates, spinning some tunes, and maybe playing a couple audio comments and reading your emails. Just like old times, friends. Going to start off with a song by the great Warner E. Hodges. Has a new album out called Right Back Where I Started. This song is called Sick of Myself.
Had it up to here, tired of being alone with myself. All night I've been working, wishing I was somewhere else, wishing I was somewhere else.
There you go. Holy fuck, is that good? Damn. I was going to play that in the background during the donation segment, but that's just too... That's good. That's all. That is good. That is good, good, good. Holy shit, is that good? Wow. Let's hear a little bit. Let's see how does the rest of this album sound? Yeah, this album is good. Might be in my top 10 this year, friends. Warner E. Hodges, right back where I started. All right. Speaking of the donation segment, thank you to everybody who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Your donations keep this show alive. Without your donations, this show would be dead in the water. Putridly. All right. There's several ways you can donate to the show. One, if you don't have any money and don't want to donate anything, you can just go to rockandrollgeek.com and click the Amazon link, and then it'll take you to Amazon. You buy anything you're going to buy anyway. I'll get a little kickback. And that's a way to support the show and be a cheap ass and not have to pay a thing. But if you think the show is worth something and you feel like donating some money, maybe the show is worth $1 to you. Maybe the show's worth $1,000 to you. Go to rockandrollgeek.com, click on one of two links. You can go to Patreon. You can click the Patreon link, which is patreon.com/RNRGeek, and you can donate there, or you can hit the PayPal link and donate there. The donors this week, I would like to thank everybody who donated. Let me get some music to play in the background. Warner E. Hodges is just too good to play in the background. I'm going to play brand new UFO. This is a covers album called the Salentino Cuts. Let's see. How about, what's the first song? Hippie music. That sucks. That's pretty bad. How about, they're doing Mantra song. How's this sound? All right, that's good. You can go to patreon.com/ONRGeek like Daniel Segan did. Every episode that I put on Patreon, he donates $5 to. Woo! Yeah. No. Something about UFO playing Montrose doesn't seem to fit. Thank you to Michael Street, who donates $5 every episode. By the way, Michael Street did an episode with me at the Rockin' Pod Expo. I'm going to post that this week. I have been holding back from posting that episode because everybody got so bent out of shape the first one that I posted from the Rockin' Pod Expo. This one, if they got pissed off at that first one, they're going to get pissed off at this one. But you know what? At this point, I don't care. I'm just going to post it how it is. Yeah, we're talking a little bit of shit, but we're doing it in good fun, and it's no harm intended. So if anybody has a problem with it, they can suck it. All right. So I'm going to post Michael Street and my episode this week. Michael Street also sent me a nice piece of vinyl, brand new Replacements double vinyl album from Sire Records, live at Maxwell's. I'm going to play that for a vinyl track of the week later on in the show. Thank you, Michael Street, for donating, and thank you for the Replacements album. I love it. Thank you to Ken Kennedy, who donates $5 every episode. Let me turn up the UFO. Thank you to my good friend Shiaki Hirahara of the Metal Movement Podcast and the Japanese Metalhead Show. Happy birthday, Chiaki. I think his birthday is Saturday. Hopefully I will present him with some Dungeness crab for his birthday. Thank you to Brian Springer, who donates $5 every episode. Thank you to my podcast mentor and co-host of Mad at Dad, Dave Slusher, who donates $5 every episode. Thank you to Paul Underwood for the $2. Paul Underwood, who also was a guest co-host. And we did not talk shit about anybody. Thank you to Mario Zoth for the $2 every episode. Thank you to Bruce McMillan for the $2 every episode. Thank you to fellow kayaker Matthew Hunt for the $2. Thank you to Eric Stowell for the $2. Thank you to Robert Harvey for the $2 every episode. Thank you to brand new donor Bondstone for the $1 every episode. Thanks to Mike Dixon, $1 every episode. Thanks to John Richardson for $1 every episode. And finally, thanks to Corey Kohler for the $1 every episode. Thanks to the people who donated on PayPal. First of all, let me take a sip of this fine Tecate to everybody who donated on the Patreon. PayPal donors, thanks to Douglas Free for the $20. Thanks to my first girlfriend ever, Elodie Johns, for the $20. Thank you to Paul Fondery for the $10. Thank you to Sherry and Jeff Thielke for the $10. Thanks to Dave Frank. My glasses are fogged up. I can't read. I'm going to clean these things off for a second here. That's no better. It's even worse. Don't clean your glasses with a dirty shirt. Thanks to Dave Franco for the $10. Thanks to James Venners for the $10. Thanks to Jason Shepard for the $10. Thanks to friend of the show and friend of mine, Todd Cunningham, for the $10. What else we have here? About Robin Trower song. Let's hear how this sounds. I'm telling you, it's Vinnie Moore who kills it. And not in a good way. Yes, he's a ripping guitar player, but man, it's not UFO.
Just about save me.
Phil Mogg sings this pretty good. Thanks to Bradley Lisco for the $10. BJ Lisco for the $10. Thanks to friend of the show and friend of mine, Ralph Miller, for the $10. Thanks to Dave Jackson and the School of Podcasting for the $10. Thanks to Brett Garsky for the $5. Thanks to John Boveri for the $5. Thanks to Richard Strom for the $5. Thanks to Andrew Howell for the $5. Thanks to Dale Roller for the $5. Thanks to Christopher Del Grande, who took me to see UFO last time they came here, for the $5. Thanks to was it last time they came? No, it was the time before. Thanks to Jer O'Carroll for the $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for the $5. Thanks to John Offenlach for the $5.
Keeps on rolling. Bring me some bad news. Checkers, they get the honeys. Give us single blues.
Forgot where I left off. John Tennis for the $5. Thanks to Greg Long for the $5. Thanks to Jeff C.A. for the $5. Thanks to Alex James Muscat for the $5. Thanks to Dean Gillespie for the $5. Thanks to Eric Lintz for the $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell again for another $5. Thanks to Stephen Mascord for the $5 who put me in his book. His book is called... I can't find it. It's down there underneath all my stuff. Thanks to Michael Williams for the $2. Thanks to Adrian Boschon, Boschrock in the forums and on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not start, but I do approve people. Go to Facebook and search for Rock and Roll Geek Show, and I will approve you, friends.
Yes, they do.
Thanks to Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, for the $2. Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $2. Thanks to Lassie Satvithagen for the $2. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2. Thanks to Bradford Page for the $2. Thanks to Peter Spark for the $2. And finally, thanks to William Moffat for the $1. Thanks to everybody who donated this month. Without your donations, this show would die horrible, putrid, stench-filled, getting lost in the fog in a kayak and run over by a boat trying to rescue you kind of death. I take a sip of this fine Tecate to everybody who donated this month. Thank you, friends. I really, really, really appreciate it. Please keep them coming. I could use some more. Whatever you think the show is worth, donate that much. I would appreciate it, friends. I also got a piece of mail here. I'm going to open it because it could be from a listener. And that's a good time to open this during the donation segment. Let's see what it is here. It's a flat item. What is it? Oh, it's a poster. Okay, this is from... I don't know who this is from. It could be from Rodney Cross because Rodney Cross said he sent me something. Let's look at what this poster is. It's hermetically sealed. Uh-oh, I just fucking bent the damn thing. Ugh. I'm trying to get it open here. I can't see the poster because it's got an invoice inside of it. Oh, it is a Nazareth poster. Nazareth with special guest Thin Lizzy, March 17th at the Stanley Theater. Thank you so much for whoever sent this. I think it's Rodney Cross. Whoever sent me this Nazareth poster, thank you so much, friends. I really, really appreciate it. Oh, wait, is there something else in here? No. Thanks again, friends. Whoever sent me this Nazareth poster, I take a sip of this fine Tecate to you. That will be the album art in this episode. All right. I got a couple of audio comments. Let me see if I can find them here. How about this?
Man, today's been a cool day. Seen a lot of familiar faces out there. Kind of like that.
Hello, Michael Butler. It's Eric, the rock and roll plebe.
Hey, Eric.
A quick show review of Tom Kiefer from the band Cinderella.
Tom Kiefer rushed to the hospital during a show, I think. I think he had a heart attack or something. Not a huge Tom Kiefer fan. Casey, my friend, is a big, huge Cinderella and Tom Kiefer fan. Pardon me, I'm burping up this fine Tecate. But wishing Tom Kiefer a healthy recovery. Back to you, Eric, the rock and roll plebe.
Solo at the Harrah's Casino.
I'll back up here.
The band Cinderella. Solo at the Harrah's Casino in Chester, Pennsylvania, which is about 15 minutes south of Philadelphia. And it was on Friday, October 13th. And first I want to just toast you with a gulp of Hobo Brewing Company Boom Sauce IPA.
I'll drink one with you, friend.
All right, so Tom Kiefer, I was curious to see him because I did like some Cinderella and Tom Kiefer's Slade.
I had nothing against Cinderella. As a matter of fact, they were pretty good, but I wasn't a big fan of the whole hair metal thing, but Cinderella wasn't bad.
EDC kind of vocal thing. And I was invited by some friends who offered to drive, so I decided why not go see a rock show. And we got to the casino where he was playing around 7:45, just before the doors open. Walked through the casino floor to the venue in the back, and the first band came on. They were called Witch Hunt.
Witch Hunt.
And I think they probably were some kind of local cover band.
Sounds like
I
Featherwitch.
heard about 50 seconds of it. It was kind of thrash music played by a bunch of husky dudes wearing sports jerseys. So we decided to go out to the casino floor since it wasn't our thing. And that is where I discovered the
Till it's gone. All right.
glory of the free casino drink in the
Oh
modern
yes,
age.
that's right. The free casino drink, I believe, if you're gambling, you drink free, right?
I haven't been to a casino in a while, and I'm not a gambler, so I didn't realize how now they've automated the drink ordering process. So as long as you have some money in the machine, you can order drinks through a touch screen display. And they have anything you'd want, just beer, shots, mixed drinks. So I mean, it was pretty cool to get the free drinks, considering they were charging, I think, like $6 for the special, which was Bud Light, inside the stage area. So I put $1 in the video poker machine, and eventually I even just cashed out that dollar. So
you have to time it where the waitress is coming by, right?
Thing other than some tips, so just drinking whiskey sours and amaretto sours and beer and everything. So that was pretty cool. So at some point we went back in, and the second band on the bill was finishing up. They were called Mach 22. They were kind of a modern hard rock kind of sounding band. Didn't really care for them either. The only thing really I could note about them is that their guitar player is the son of the guitar player from Cinderella. So I just think it's interesting that Tom Kiefer has the son of his former band opening up for him, but I guess he doesn't really want to tour with Jeff LaBar, his former guitar player. But so after Mach 22, Tom Kiefer came out. The venue could probably hold, I would say, 750 to 1,000 people, and I'd say it was about half to 2/3 full, so I guess it was a pretty decent crowd for him.
Not bad. American Heartbreak, I think American Heartbreak opened for Cinderella in San Francisco at a club called The Pound. And I believe it was sold out. There was probably a good 500 or 600 people there.
The songs, I know you probably don't know them, and I wasn't even really paying close attention after all.
I know some of them.
Casino drink, so though I did enjoy the show, but he probably played for about an hour and 15 minutes, I think, maybe up 14, 15 songs. He played about 3 or 4 or 5 of his solo album tunes, and the rest were the Cinderella songs, night songs, Shake Me.
Shake Me any way you want. All right.
Road, Nobody's Fool.
Nobody's Fool.
And like, I don't know what you got till it's
Don't know what you got till it's gone.
on the big ballad. On that song, he brought his wife out on stage to sing.
I'm going to bring out my wife to sing the hit.
And he invited the Philadelphia crowd to turn on their cell phones like lighters.
Turn your cell phones on like lighters.
At the end of the show, they did a cover of the Stones' Tumbling Dice.
Call me the tumbling dice.
Kind of cool. And also, I think they finished up with a really not needed, kind of lame to me cover of Little Help from My Friends from the Beatles.
What would you do if I sang out of tune?
What else? Sound-wise, I don't really care for this venue at the Horaz Casino in Chester, PA. The sound's kind of muddy. Performance-wise, though, it was all right. I had fun. Tom Kiefer...
Good, that's what it's all
he looks
about.
like a rock guy. He's keeping himself in shape.
Still looks good.
He's got that, whatever, Aerosmith, whatever look that he's trying to copy. Vocally, he was okay. I think he had his guitar player and a couple of...
Casey and I went to see Poison and Cinderella. It was Poison, Cinderella, and Whitesnake, I believe. Cinderella opened, and Tom Kiefer lost his voice during the show. He couldn't sing. He was like, I don't know, he just lost it. Halfway through the set, he lost his voice. And one notable thing, they had a big, that big, huge Cinderella logo backdrop. They dropped the backdrop, like the backdrop drops and another backdrop is behind it. So the Cinderella logo falls down. There's another logo behind it. It's the exact same backdrop. We got quite a laugh out of that, but yeah, Tom Kiefer lost his voice during the Cinderella show. I believe at that point, and when Poison came on, the bass player and Bret Michaels both got into a fist fight on stage.
Back row singers kind of handling the high parts. And on bass, I'd really like to see someone like a Michael Butler on bass, because the guy playing it kind of looked a little douchey to me. I have a pet peeve where you see guys in bands who wear those like tiny, they're too small for their head fedora hats, and he was kind of wearing one of those, and it was kind of lame.
How about any fedora hat?
I don't know. I wish the Butlers or Featherwitch would come and do an East Coast tour.
Hey, get a club to invite us, and we will be there, friend.
I don't know. So that's it. It was a fun night. Free drinks, casino. It was fun, and until next time, Michael Butler. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Rock and Roll Plebe. Rock and Roll Plebe. You too can leave a show review or audio comment. You can send me an email like Eric the Plebe did, Rock and Roll Plebe, to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, or you can just record it on your phone and then email it to me. That's the preferred way. You can also call the comment line, area code 706-621-ROCK, which I don't like because Skype now sucks, so for voicemail. But if you want to do that, area code 706-621-ROCK. That's area code 706-621-7625. Thanks, Eric, Rock and Roll Plebe. I really appreciate it, friend. I'd go see Tom Kiefer solo, especially if it was for free. All right, let's play another song. How about, let me find my playlist here. Jesper Binzer from DAD has a solo album coming out, and the songs that I've heard, I really like a lot. I love this guy's voice, and I'm really looking forward to this album. I don't know what the album's going to be called, but this song I'm going to play is called Dying is Easy, Rock and Roll is Hard. I think that's the title of the album, too.
Fingers bring the chords. It was my
There you go. Jesper Binzer from DAD. That song is great. I hope that album comes out before the end of the year, because that one, both the songs I have heard from that album sound really good. I just love his voice, and I'm a huge DAD fan, as I'm sure you know, but can't wait for that album to come out. I'm looking on the Facebook. I usually post that I'm preparing to pull a new show out of my ass, and I'm looking at some of the comments. Seth Massing wants a Darkness album review. I just now on Pledge Music, I pre-ordered this album on Pledge Music, and when it's supposed to come out, it came out on October 6th. Usually when an album comes out, they release the songs in MP3 format immediately on the Pledge Music site. Well, the Darkness album, I have still not gotten the MP3s from the album, and I just got the CD in the mail like 2 days ago. So Seth, I'm planning on doing a track by track of the new Darkness, but I need to put it on the computer and actually give it a good listen. I have not listened to the whole album yet. I didn't want to illegally download it because I don't know why. For some reason, I wanted to support the Darkness because I really love the Darkness a lot. So I'm going to do a track by track of the Darkness album, Seth Massing. I appreciate the interest, and I promise you I will. Somebody else wants to hear some kayak and distress tales. If you'd like to hear about me getting lost in the fog in a kayak, listen to the last Mad at Dad episode. I thought I was going to die. And tomorrow I'm going crabbing, and hopefully I will not die. I will make sure I post this episode tonight so that if I do die tomorrow, I'll at least have one in the can. So thank you for the interest. Everybody who's commenting on the Facebook post and the Facebook. You know, you stop doing a show, you stop doing a regular show from the studio, you lose the groove. I'm sorry, I'm out of it. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I need to get back into doing this on a regular basis. I have a track by track of the Darkness album to do. I also want to do a track by track of the new Professionals album, which is what I've heard is really good. I'm going to play why don't I play a Professional song right now? The album, The Professionals, I don't know if you know about them, but when the Sex Pistols broke up, Steve Jones and Paul Cook did an album they put a band together called The Professionals. It was Steve Jones, Paul Cook, and who was the other guy? It was Steve Jones on guitar, Paul Cook on drums. Who else was in the band? Andy Allen was on bass, I think. I can't remember. Can't remember. Andy Allen, and a guy named Ray McVeigh, I think, was on. Anyway, they put out an album called I Didn't See It Coming. They did an album before that never got released. It actually didn't. They finally released an album called The Professionals. It was recorded in 1980. In 1981, I believe, I Didn't See It Coming came out. The first album didn't get released until like 97 or something like that. So the album I have is I Didn't See It Coming. Great album. Really great album. Well, now the Professionals are back. It's Paul Cook with the singer for the Yo-Yos, Tom Spencer, who I love the Yo-Yos a lot. They were great. A bass player named Paul Myers. Apparently, Steve Jones gave them. He's not in the band, although he did play on a few songs. He gave him his blessing to. He gave the band his blessing to call it The Professionals. So he's guessing on it. Also on the album is Phil Collin from Def Leppard. The guitar player from Adam and the Ants plays on it. Duff McKagan plays on it. Guitar player Billy Duffy from The Cult plays on it. Chris McCormick from a great band called Three Colors Red plays guitar on it. All the songs I've heard I really, really like a lot. I'm going to do a track by track of that coming up as well. I might even have Tom Spencer on the show. We'll see. So I'm going to play for you a Professional song now. This song is called, This song is called Hats Off. It has Duff McKagan on bass and Chris McCormick from Three Colors Red. This song is great. is called Hats Off. I played this on... Hold on a second. I played this on the last Mad at Dab, but I'm going to play it again for you. This song is called Hats Off.
Broken down soldier needs a little spice if he's ever gonna sleep tonight. Gonna get colder when the last of the autumn tones are swept from sight. You might make it through to midnight. Land fit for heroes didn't ring true 100 years ago. Where did your queen go? She's sitting high and dry and doesn't seem to know. Although you can see her in a window, although you can see her in a window. Hats off to the toothless smiles and the bloodshot eyes where the time of white lingers. Hats off to the shaky hands that are reaching for hope with nicotine fingers. Came on a promise of golden streets from a face you never met online. Now it's come to this, where a fixer killed the pain of the tricks that stole your mind. Time and left you on the breadline. Come that curb crawler had a hard-bound day and is looking for a way to unwind. Could be his daughter, but it's dark out there and he don't seem to mind. Turn the blind eye this time. Turn the blind eye this time. Hats off to the broken child with the grown-up eyes that are voting on losers. Hats off to the innocent that are looking for hope in a world of abusers. I'll take my hat off to you. I'll take my hat off to you. Hats off to the toothless smiles and the bloodshot eyes where the time of white lingers. Hats off to the shaky hands that are reaching for hope with nicotine fingers. Hats off to the broken child with the grown-up eyes that are voting on losers. Hats off to the innocent that are looking for hope in a world of abusers.
There you go. Brand New Professionals. That is good, man. It's good punk rock. It's nice and refreshing to hear something good. I'm going to do a track by track of that album coming up as well soon. All right, I got an email from Adam Brusha or Brusha. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Adam, but he said, "Hey Michael, I've been hearing some buzz around the band called Greta Van Fleet. I ignored it until Alice Cooper brought them up. I checked out the 4-song EP and I loved it. They sound a lot like Led Zeppelin, and I know you're not a huge Zeppelin fan." Hold on, I'm pulling the band up on YouTube so that we can listen to a little bit of Greta Van Fleet. All right, he says, start it over here. All right, bad production. I've been hearing some. Pardon me, I'm burping. It's fine, Tecate. I've been hearing some buzz around the band Greta Van Fleet. I ignored it until Alice Cooper brought them up. I checked out their 4-song EP and I love it. They sound a lot like Led Zeppelin, and I know you're not a huge Zeppelin fan, but I'd like to know your thoughts. Even if it's not your cup of tea, it's cool to hear 4 young kids make this sound. Stay frosty, Adam. Adam, well, I'm glad you sent me this email. Thank you again. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. This band has a huge buzz. Huge buzz. They're selling out everywhere they played. I've heard them on Eddie Trunk's show, on his Sirius show. I heard them on another Volume show. Everybody thinks these guys are the savior of rock and roll. What do I think about Greta Van Fleet? Well, let's hear a little bit of Greta Van Fleet. This is the single Highway Tune. This is the video. I'm playing it from YouTube. First of all, the bass player plays his bass really high, and he plays barefoot. The singer sounds a lot like Robert Plant. But he's got short hair.
Stopping at the red line, girl, 'cause I wanna get you sick now. No going at the green line, girl, 'cause I wanna be with you now. You are my special.
Both the guitar player and the bass player wear their guitars really high. The singer wears a ripped up t-shirt, which looks kind of contrived to me. The singer does all the Robert Plant moves, holds his microphone like Robert Plant, does the hand moves like Robert Plant, things with the microphone like Robert Plant. They are young kids. They have a lot of energy.
Stopping on the highway, girl, 'cause I wanna burn my gas. There's one girl that I know I'm never gonna pass.
So what do I think about Greta Van Fleet, Adam Brusha? One, I am glad that there is a huge buzz over a rock band. But to me, there's something about this band. Forget about the Led Zeppelin comparisons. I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan, and I don't think we need somebody who sounds exactly like Led Zeppelin. But put that aside. There's something about it that's just not really authentic to me. I could be wrong because I've only heard this one song. I don't know any of the other songs, and maybe they're great. I hope they make it huge. But, it's not really for me. Good luck to them. Glad to see kids playing rock. I'll stick with the darkness. But good luck to Greta Van Fleet. Not really my cup of tea. I just think they lack a little authenticity. I don't think that they have enough of a rock and roll edge. They seem a little... They're good players. They all look like they're like MIT kids or whatever you call it. Yeah, Musicians Institute of Technology kids or Berklee College of Music kids. Little virtuoso kids. I prefer a little bit more... what's the word? Sloppiness in my rock and roll, I guess. But good luck to Greta Van Fleet. I hope that answered your question, Adam Brusha or Brusha. I really appreciate the email, friend. All right, here's another audio comment.
Hey, Michael Butler. This is Chuck Spear, the Rock and Roll Hoosier, checking in from the UFO Saxon Jared James Nichols show in Maryville,
I saw
Indiana,
the same tour.
October 13th, 2017. So now we're in the car heading back home the morning after. Lots of ringing ears going on.
Saxon were loud, right?
So obviously, show review time. UFO, Saxon, Jared James Nichols at the...
I missed Jared James Nichols. I got there a little bit late. Chris Del Grande and I went to see him, and we got there a little bit too late. The Jared James Nichols guy was done playing by the time we got there.
To be defunct Star Plaza Theater in Maryville, Indiana, which is a suburb of Chicago.
I played Maryville, Indiana with when I was in Exodus. We opened for Black Sabbath. It might have been the same venue.
This place has been around since like the 70s, and they are shutting it down in December. It's a real shame. A lot of famous bands have played there. 3,400 seat
Yeah, that's probably where we
venue
play.
with a balcony. Seen quite a few shows there in my day. Most major bands that are medium level bands, either on their way up or veteran bands, have played there numerous times. So, show started right at 7:30 with Jared James Nichols. This guy is really neat. He's probably in his 30s. It's a three-piece band. He plays an Epiphone Les Paul, and he plays without a guitar pick, which I thought is interesting. But he plays really heavy. I would say his style is somewhere in the neighborhood of Ted Nugent meets Zakk Wylde. So kind of bluesy hard rock with a real edge.
I heard he was good.
His three-piece band is Los Angeles based. He's from Wisconsin, but he moved out to LA like 6 years ago, which obviously you saw from the photo that I put on Facebook. I got to meet him afterwards and signed CD and all that kind of jazz, but definitely a neat up-and-coming guy. His set was 35 minutes long, and he played not a lot off his debut CD, so he must be having a second CD come out, but his set list was Last Chance, Don't Be Scared, Gone, Baby Can You Feel It, and then he broke out a old wood grain Flying V and came out and said, here's an old classic for you, and started playing Stranglehold for
Nice.
9 minutes and totally demolishing
Nice.
it. And as you saw from the picture, it kind of all makes sense. He actually looks like a young Ted Nugent.
Yes, he does.
Long, kind of brownish hair, you know, kind of goatee and all that kind of jazz. So he's not a rip-off of Nugent for sure.
He's a
but
disciple
got
of the Nuge.
that kind of dynamic stage presence and stage raps and everything. Then he...
Now,
after
see, that to me is bands. They called Greta Van Fleet the savior of rock and roll. To me, bands like this, what's his name, James Nichols? That's the savior of rock and roll. The Darkness, savior of rock and roll. Those are the guys who are carrying it. Nothing against Greta Van Fleet. They just seem like something doesn't seem real about them to me.
He ended up his set with End of Time, and he just basically took his guitar off at the end of his set. He promised the crowd that he would come out to the audience and go to the merch booth and sign stuff. So he literally took his guitar off, climbed down the steps at the front of the stage of the theater, and walked down the aisle signing stuff all along the way, and went straight from the stage up the aisle to the merch booth. So that's kind of an interesting way of doing it, that's for sure.
I hope he sold a few
So
shirts
I went
that
and met
way.
him, and he had a line of like 50, 100 people or so.
Nice.
So he went over really well. The crowd itself, as I said, the theater holds like 3,400 people.
I can't believe there were 3,400 people there, right, Chuck Spear? I can't believe it.
Probably in the neighborhood of 1,000 people.
That's not bad.
So it was
Not
probably about a
bad.
third to a half full. Didn't expect a lot more than that. Chicago is obviously a very big stronghold for UFO, but that's a large place for them to play. And of course, having Saxon along. But tickets were anywhere from like $40, and the tickets I had fifth row center were $125 a
Oh,
pop.
they were reserved.
So
We saw him at the Independent. It was a small club. It holds maybe 400. It was packed, but it was no reserved seats. You could just stand wherever you wanted. There was no seats.
not everybody could afford it. Of course, everybody could afford their $9 beers, which there was probably, I would say, a net average of 4 to 5 beers drank by every person in that theater.
I think so. They got a huge guarantee for
lots of drunk people walking around.
Good.
So, Chicago people are not afraid to get up in your face.
That's okay.
And
drink.
Go towards the stage and interact with the band and get kicked out by security. It's always Always amusing to go to a show around Chicago.
Yeah.
Sac-
We played when I was in Exodus. We opened. We played Chicago with. We played Maryville with Black Sabbath, like I said, but we played Chicago with Body Count, and it was quite the fun rock and roll crowd, to say the least.
Came in after maybe a 15-20 minute switch over, and they're still.
When we were in Maryville, a guy came up and had a tat. I signed his arm or his chest or something, or I don't know. I signed a part of his body, his back or something like that. And he came back to the Maryville show with my autograph tattooed on his shoulder. Boy, I bet he regrets that now, man.
Their latest album, which came out a couple years ago, called Battering Ram. So they had a backdrop that said Battering Ram on it. Their first song in their set was actually the title track, Battering Ram. The band pretty much consists of the same band they had for 20 plus years. Obviously, Biff Byford on vocals, as
is that how you pronounce it, Byford?
Has been for many, many years. Paul Quinn on guitar, original guitar player. Nigel Glockner back on drums. He was with them after Pete Gill, so I think it was. I want to say it was after Denim and Leather is when he joined. So it was. It might have been Power and the Glory, or the album before that is when he joined. So he was part of the classic lineup, so he's back with them. And he had a really awesome kit, double bass, 8 or 10 Peisty cymbals. So obviously I was way into his setup. On bass, he's had Nigel Nibs Carter for like almost 20 years.
That guy's great. I love that bass player.
And then his other guitar player he's had for 23 years, I believe is what he said. And his name is escaping me. Dennis, I believe. But he's been with them since like the 90s. So that lineup's been pretty solid. As much as Jared James Nichols' mix was tight and a really good mix between the trio, basically Saxon was, everything was on 11 except the drums.
Yep.
You could not hear it all, and you barely could hear the bass. But both guitars and
they were blasting.
Biff, his vocals were almost piercingly loud. We were fifth row center, and it was 2 walls of Marshalls, and it was almost excruciatingly loud. But obviously they're straight ahead, quote unquote British metal, so not a lot of chances for dynamics in their music. But after Battering Ram, they went back to the 80s, This Town Rocks, and then they played Sacrifice, which is on, I think, one of their albums in the 2000s. I've Got to Rock to Stay Alive, which again, another newer song. Power and the Glory, back from the 80s, is the next song. Strong Arm of the Law, classic Saxon.
I'm not singing any of these because I don't know any of these. All I know from Saxon, although I liked them, they were great live, and they were actually better than UFO. But honestly, the only song I know from Saxon is Wheels of Steel. I am not a huge Saxon fan. I like them fine. Just I don't really know that much about them. They never came to San Francisco or to Jacksonville, Florida when I was growing up.
War, I think that's late 80s. 747, Strangers in the Night, oldie but goodie. Motorcycle Man, obviously another early 80s cut. Heavy Metal Thunder. And some of those cuts, he was actually giving the crowd a choice of what song to choose from. Like, do you want to hear this? Do you want to hear this? Do you want to hear this? And by the crowd response is what they would play. Crusader, which is 1984. That's the first time I ever saw Saxon, back in 84 in Evansville, Indiana, opening up for Motley Crue. So I have a soft spot in my heart for that tour. Dallas 1 p.m., obviously one of their big hits, and closing out with Denim and Leather and Princess of the Night. So hour and 20 minute co-headlining set for Saxon. and good crowd response.
When I saw it, they went
Okay,
over
and
better
then
than UFO.
After about a 25-minute switchover, they came on. Probably it was 9:45-ish, something like that. And I am so glad that I did not check set lists because
they
I
did the
was
exact...
totally shocked and surprised that they had mixed up the set list quite a bit, as you will see momentarily. From the very first song, they literally came out on stage.
I saw them, I think they opened with Baby Blue or something like that. A new song.
Were introduced by their road manager. Crowd goes nuts, the 1,000 people that are there. And they open up with We Belong to the Night.
Oh, that's a good one. Nice. Mechanics. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They did not play that when I saw them. I would have loved it. Yeah, they played some crappy newer song. It was lame.
Going nuts. It was amazing. They sounded great. Then, right after that, they played Run, Boy, Run, which is off their most recent studio album.
Yeah, I think they might have opened with that one when I saw them.
Conspiracy of Stars. Obviously, they have that new cover album out that just came out a few weeks ago.
Not good.
Luckily, they didn't really play anything off it
Good.
because I don't want to hear UFO covering anybody.
No.
I just want to hear their tunes. So
other
that was good.
than Something Else, the song Something Else, which is on Mechanics, I think. There's a couple of covers that they've done. Alone Again or is good. Yeah, but yeah, I don't want to hear him playing Love Me Two Time, Babe.
So We Belong to the Night opens up the show off of Mechanics. Amazing. Run Boy Run off of Conspiracy of Stars. Second song. Great song. Then third song introduced by a now totally bald-headed Mr. Phil Mogg.
Yes.
He comes up, bends down as he's known to do to look at the set list, and says this is off and forgets what album it's off of. He goes, I think it's off of Obsession.
Oh, nice.
Which he was right. Ain't No Baby off of Obsession.
Oh, yeah. They did not play that one when I saw them either. Son of a bitch. That's a good one, man. I ain't no baby.
So, we are deep
shitting
cut,
your pants.
Deep cut and deep cut.
Why didn't they do that shit when we saw them? Chris Del Grande?
Songs into the set. So already the set is starting out amazing. Then from there, interesting, they got to play some of the hits, but they put Lights Out in the 4 spot, which was great.
That's fine.
Obviously, they're going to play it, but to play it that early in the set was very surprising. Then Only You Can Rock Me, obviously they're going to play.
Nice, that's fine.
So they did that pretty early in the set, even though it's one of my all-time favorites. Off of Obsession, which was my first UFO album, so I have a soft spot in my heart for that one.
My first UFO album was Lights Out.
All the time.
And then I went back and bought Phenomenon and Force It and all those.
Then back to Conspiracy of Stars, their most recent CD. Burn Your House Down, which is a great ballad. It really is. And so the dynamics of that song really broke up the set nicely. And then in between stage banter, obviously, is always hilarious with Mr. Mogg. To introduce Cherry, he says, here's a song. We were out on the road back in the 70s, and Mr. Parker back there on drums met a young lady, a dancer, and I don't know what happened that evening, and he goes into one of his vagaries, of course, and says, yes, this is a song called Cherry.
But meanwhile, Pete Way wrote the tune.
And halfway through the song, in the part where Rob DeLuca plays the Pete Way bass part, the lead bass part, obviously, they screw up and they almost come to a complete stop, and for like 45 seconds they're just going dun 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 dun.
They can
And
get it
finally
back together.
Phil Mogg gets back on beat where he's supposed to be, and gotta give my love for Cherry. Just for me, it's only. But that was kind of comical, and they're just all kind of looking.
Wish I wasn't just passing through. We are gold.
Cracking up. After the song, he apologizes for his.
I'm sorry about
brief-
that. For that
Forgot what he
brief.
called it. Something like brain fade
For
or
that
something
brief
like that.
brain fart.
But it was comic relief, and everybody loved it. Then they went into Love to Love, obviously amazing. Too Hot to Handle, amazing. Another song off of Conspiracy of Stars called Mission of Love.
No.
Great song. Then
no.
closed out the main set with Rock
Bottom.
for 13 minutes.
And they came back with Dr. Doctor.
Then came back out and did your typical
Shoot.
Dr. Doctor and Shoot.
Right.
So an amazing night of music, a lot of music. So you had 35-minute set from Jared James Nichols, which was amazing. You had an hour and 20 minutes of great music from Saxon, albeit way too loud, and then an hour and 20-minute headlining set from UFO. So I am feeling the effects of it on the way back home, but great night of amazing classic rock and new rock. So anyway, hope it's all well, and Mrs. Spear and I need to get out there and visit you and
Yes.
have a night of in-studio requests, and
I'll make you and your wife dinner. We'll have some tecates, and you come down and do a show, friend.
reminiscing about shows and good times
out.
and pay you a little bit of scratch. So
There you go.
Hope all is well.
All right, you too can leave a show review or audio comment, area code 706-621-ROCK. Or you can do like Chuck Spear did and record it on your phone and email it to me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. All right, I have another audio comment. This is from Dave Jacobs, I think.
Hello, Michael. Dave Jacobs, the
Hey,
Rock
Dave
and Roll
Jacobs,
Jew.
Rock and Roll
Long time
Jew.
no talk, man. How you doing?
I'm
Hope you're
super
doing
great. Couldn't be better.
Super great. I could not be better.
Yes.
I want to give you a quickie review. I just finished listening an hour or so ago to the new Foo Fighters album.
Okay. This by the way, he sent this audio. This is how long it's been since I've done an in-studio Rock and Roll Geek show. He sent this back. It's probably back in September, I think. All right, let me see if I can pull up the Foo Fighters so we can compare it together. Although I'm not a Foo Fighters fan, but what's Concrete and Gold is what it's called? Okay. All right, back to you, Dave Jacobs.
Concrete and Gold. I know you're not a fan, but I am. And I bet you there's some other rock and roll geeks that are fans. So I'm going to give you a quick take on this new album.
All right.
I am going to
We'll
give
compare.
and this is not rock and roll geek scoring. This is just generic scale of 10.
Oh, okay. There's
I'm gonna give it
11
like
songs on the album.
6.5, maybe 7 out of 10.
That's
It's
not
all
great.
right. It's all right. It's decent. It's not.
That means
great.
it's not
I think
good.
I feel about this album the same way you might feel about the latest Cheap Trick. You know, it's all right. It's good. There's some things on it that I enjoy.
The good
but,
effort.
It's not awesome. It's not blowing me away by any measure. So I think what happened, there's like 2 things about this album that are kind of unique. It's a little bit different of an album than a typical Foo Fighters album. It's a little different, which I appreciate, and I admire their ambition in doing something different, trying new things. So they got this producer who's not a rock producer at all. He produces like Sia and Adele and very, very pop type acts.
Yeah, I heard that Justin Timberlake is on this album, and who cares?
I think Dave Grohl had a very, very conscious decision to infuse the Foo Fighters sound with pop music on this album. And he did, for better or for worse.
Well, does it have
That's
good
what
pop
happens. It's a
melodies?
fusion of sort of
I
Foo
can't.
Fighters
I can't even
and
bring
pop.
myself to sit down and listen to this record. I don't even care enough to listen to this Foo Fighters record. But back to you, Dave Jackson.
I think that part, there's like two things that he did with his album. That part of it, I don't mind. It kind
All
of
right,
works.
why don't I do right now a very, very quick track by track review of the new Foo Fighters? All right, is that okay, Dave Jackson? I don't know if you're going to do one or not. I'll listen to a little bit more of his comment.
I mean, it's different. Either you're going to like it or you're not. I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was interesting.
I don't want
I thought
a
it was
not
twist,
mind an
and
album.
for the most part, that worked out okay. Another part of that element is that this album is also extremely Beatles influenced. I know that's going to drive you nuts, but I dig it. I like Beatles influenced things. This is definitely the most directly influenced Beatles.
All right, quickly, I'm going to do a blazing fast track by track review of the new Foo Fighters.
I don't wanna be king.
His voice is
I
annoying.
just wanna sing a love song.
All right.
Pretend there's nothing wrong.
All right, hurry up. It's all right.
I don't wanna be queen. Just trying to keep
I take it it's going to get rocking pretty soon. All right, I'll give that one a half. Next song, Run. Overproduced.
Wake up, run for your life with me. Wake up.
Sounds fine. It's catchy enough. Half. Not grabbing me. Let's get into the chorus. 0. Next song, Sky is a Neighborhood. Sounds like the first song.
Sky is a neighborhood.
Half. La-di-da. I don't like the distorted vocals. Fast forward. 0. Next song, Dirty Water.
I've been drinking dirty water. But I've been here.
Half. Arrows. Next song.
She was a friend of mine. Lone runner.
Half. I'm not giving it enough of a chance. I know. Happily ever after, 0 after. 0 hour. Yeah. Very Wings. Trying to sound like Wings or Paul McCartney solo.
The weeds are swallowing up.
This is not bad.
Flower bed, roses in a whiskey jar, blood on the thorns. Drink until the taste is gone. Cracks in the floorboard are deep from dancing.
All right, fast forward.
Shangri-La now. Where is your Shangri-La now?
Half. Sunday Rain. Half. Too much like Paul McCartney solo. Too much.
Yes or no, what is truth but a dirty black cloud coming out of the blue? I was wrong, I was right, I'm a blood moon born in the dead of night.
Half. Finally, Concrete and Gold.
You lost your mind.
0. All right, let's tally him up. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 11. There you go. All right, back to you, Dave Jackson.
For
4 out of 11.
Any album, I think this producer likes the Beatles. Dave
Paul
Grohl has
McCartney.
talked about how he likes
It's
that.
not the Beatles, Dave Jackson. It's Paul McCartney solo. Paul McCartney and Wings, or Paul
And
McCartney
it's
solo.
very, very coming through on this album. So that's
It's not
another album.
Beatles. It's Paul McCartney
I
solo.
think for the most part, like I said, that part basically worked out okay. The part that didn't work out for me, and I think where this album really falls short, is in the second goal,
Songs.
which appears to be to make this a huge, massive, big, sonically sounding album.
Nah.
Just over the top. I don't even know how to describe it. Just a massive, huge sound.
Hey, why not?
And I think on that measure, that's where it kind of had problems, because it's big, it's massive, it's sonically out of this world, but that doesn't always make for a good song. Some of these songs,
I don't know if you can tell, but somebody sent me an email that I need to oil my chair here. I have not oiled my chair. I am aware of that, okay? Who has time to oil a chair?
just don't want a big sound, you know? You can't just bolt on a big
And how
sound
do
to
you oil
song
a
and
chair?
automatically make it better. Some songs are more adept to that, and some
The songs
are not.
aren't great.
And there's a couple of songs here.
Production good
where
like
I think
Paul
at the
McCartney, but
core,
eh.
it could have been a pretty okay song.
They're not catchy. They're not. There's no good choruses.
But then you bolt on this
Although I didn't let him get to the chorus in defense of Dave Grohl.
massive
Would
jet,
I play bass for the Foo Fighters? Yes.
jet engine, way overblown sound, and it just kind of ruins the whole song, and just way too much for me. So I think that's where the album sort of goes astray. He could have just reined it in a little bit. Not everything bigger is
There was
better.
a lot of
Right.
hype about this album, and when it came,
couple of
before
good
it came
songs,
out,
though,
then when
I
it
will
finally
say,
came out,
Run
nobody
is a
seemed
good song.
to really care.
Sky is a neighborhood's decent song. I like Make It Right is an interesting song. It's got a bit of funk in it, which is kind of interesting. and cool
3,
for
I
Foo
gave it a
Fighters. I've
0.
never
I
heard
gave that one a
a little bit
0.
of a funk kind of vibe on a song. So I dug that one.
0.
And there's a couple of songs that just completely miss for me. And then I think the one to really talk about is the title track at the end. This was
0.
really built up big in the media as, oh, this is the big, incredible,
0.
opus Pink Floyd track, you know. Look out for this
0.
one. And it's Pink Floyd-like, yes, and I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, so you're not going to put
It was
anything
a
over on
little
me.
more.
Yes, it's Pink Floyd-ish, but it's a very bad attempt.
It's
at a Pink Floyd song.
boring.
It just fails miserably.
Boring.
For me. You know, it's got the little things in there. It's like he's trying to do, like, you know, the end of Dark Side of the Moon, basically. But it's just so poorly executed.
It's boring.
It's just not good.
Say
It's
it.
not good.
Boring.
In fact, I remember I was listening to it thinking, this is really boring. This is just not good
Exactly.
at all. So on that one, a complete and utter fail. Like I said, the rest of the album, hit and miss. some nice things, some things that didn't work. I appreciate the ambition.
4
I'm trying to do
out
some
of
things
11.
different. It worked sometimes, it didn't work sometimes.
4
So
out of
for me, it's like
11.
a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. Okay, not awesome. And that's it. So, talk.
All right. Thank you, Dave Jack. I don't know his audio comment cut off, but you too can leave me an album review. Area code 7. How about this? Give me a track-by-track review of the New Darkness record, and we will do a Darkness track-by-track. And give me a track-by-track of the New Professionals record. We'll do a track-by-track of that as well. The New Professionals, What in the World? The New Darkness is called Pinewood Smile. Send it to, record your audio comments, send it, email it, and send it to, record it on your phone and email it to me at rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Or you can call area code 706-621-ROCK, but it'll probably get cut off. So, all right. Have anything else? Yes, I do. When I had Paul Underwood in, this was right after Tom Petty died, and we were talking about bands that you would cry if somebody in the band died. And I think I said if Joe Perry died, I would probably cry. When Chrissy Amphlett from the Divinyls died, I cried. I will probably cry when Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo dies. Which, speaking of that, of crying, I want to say rest in peace to George Young, brother of, was he brother or uncle? I don't know. He's part of the Young from AC/DC. He was 1/3 of the brainchild of AC/DC. Without Malcolm, Angus, and George, there would be no AC/DC. Well, now there is only Angus left in AC/DC. George Young is going to be missed more than people know. George Young, very, 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 very important to AC/DC. And had a lot of creative input in AC/DC, even played rumored to play bass on Powerage. George Young, rest in peace. Angus, let's hear the solo album, blues solo album. We don't need AC/DC anymore, friend. We don't. George Young's gone. Malcolm's gone. Rest in peace, George Young. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So anyway, bands you cry if they died. So when Angry Anderson dies, I'll probably cry. When Chrissy Amphlett died, I cried. When Joe Perry and Steven Tyler die, I'll probably cry. But when the world, in general in the world, I think when Keith Richards dies, people will cry. The world will go into mourning. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, the world will go into mourning. Rod Stewart, you'll probably get a decent tribute. I don't think people will cry. But anyway, I got a couple of emails. Hello, Michael Butler. My name is Doug Steele, and I'm from Detroit. I've been listening to your Rock and Roll Geek Show podcast for about a year and a half now, and I love every minute of it. To quote Loverboy, I wish you did it daily, but I understand. If I was getting paid, if I got more donations, Doug, I would do the show daily. I enjoy doing the dog days of podcasting. If I was getting enough donations to pay for it, I would be doing it daily because I like it. But I got to make a living, friend. First of all, I was listening to today's podcast, 807. I have a list of guitar players I would cry if they died. This was the episode that I did with Paul Underwood. He came over and we did we did a home invasion, which you too can do a home invasion. If you donate $200 and you come to San Francisco, I will make you dinner. We'll drink a lot of Tecates. We may even have some wine, and we can come down and do a show. Well, Paul Underwood came down, and we talked about this. So here's a list of, back to Doug Steele. I have a list of guitar players I would cry if they died. Stevie Ray Vaughan on August 27th, 1990. When I found out, I called my wife, who was my girlfriend then, and I cried. At work, no less, like a fat chick that got stood up at the prom. I would cry if Ace Frehley died. He's a huge hero of mine. I even play a Black Les Paul because of him. Would I cry if Ace Frehley died? No, I'd be kind of sad. I'd be kind of sad if Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons died, too, to be honest with you. David Gilmour, I'd cry if he died, he says. Uncle Ted Nugent. Yeah, if Ted Nugent died, I would cry. The sad thing about it is if Ted Nugent died, on Facebook, people would be rejoicing like the Wicked Witch was killed. That's fucking pisses me off, man. But yes, I would cry if Uncle Ted died, if Ted Nugent died. And like you said, anyone from Cheap Trick. Yeah, if anybody from Cheap Trick dies, I will cry. I definitely will. Bunny Carlos included. A few more things. I was born in 1968 in Detroit, and I love Susie Quattro. I worked for her cousin at a General Motors plant, at General Motors years ago in the design group. Huh. I love Susie Quattro too, Doug Steele. Love her, love her, love her. I interviewed her a long time ago. I should repost that episode. I interviewed her like when I was only podcasting for like a year. I gotta dig that one out and pull it out. She was very nice, and she's an icon. She should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My first concert was Kiss with opening band Cheap Trick at the Pontiac Silverdome, July 1979 at the young age of 11, and both instantly became my two favorite bands. I think I saw them on that tour. Was that Rock and Roll Over tour? I think it might have been. Well, let me take a sip of this fine Tecate. I'm almost done with the third one here. I've just finished. Nothing but backwash. I also wanted to give you a heads up on a great rock documentary on Netflix called A Band Called Death. A great Detroit punk rock band with three black brothers. I have added an attachment of my favorite song they did in 1973 called Politicians in My Eyes. Great stuff. If you haven't heard them, it's worth a watch. I saw that DVD or that Netflix, Doug. It was pretty good. I love your podcast and I will donate soon. I'm just getting over very expensive cancer treatments, and now I'm cancer-free. Well, thank God for that, Doug. Cancer treatments. Holy shit, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm very glad you got over cancer. Cancer sucks ass. So he's younger than me. Let me see, was age 11 at 79. I was 17 or 18. Yeah, you're younger than me. You don't need to have cancer at your age, friend. I'm glad it's gone. I hope it does. Let's pray that it does not come back, Doug. I love your podcast, and I will donate very soon. I'm just getting a very expensive cancer treatment. Now I'm cancer-free. My insurance is my new cancer, fuckers. Yeah, I hear you, friend. Thanks again, your friend of the show Detroit chapter. And also, regarding the same stuff. By the way, thank you, Doug Steele, for that. I really appreciate it. I'm seriously glad you're free of cancer. Here's one on the same subject from Tim Smith, the rock and roll runner. Oh, he's PhD. Are you a PhD, Tim Smith? I did not know that. Okay, Michael. Here's one. I would say this guy is extremely comparable to Tom Petty. He's kind of the North American version of the Southern Tom Petty. Everybody loves him. He wrote wonderful, very American-sounding, catchy tunes. Just like Tom Petty, he had a backing band with a name. That man would be Bob Seger. Signed, Tim Smith, Ph.D., runsmith.net. Adjunct professor of chemistry, University of Dayton. All right. Would I cry if Bob Seger died? I saw Bob Seger open for the Doobie Brothers when Live Bullet just came out. A lot of people in the Midwest probably would seriously cry if Bob Seger died. I know my friend Casey Crenshaw would cry if Bob Seger died. I'm a fan of Bob Seger. I would not cry, but I can certainly understand how you would, Tim Smith. How about a little bit of Bob Seger while I go use the bathroom?
He wants to dream like a young man with the wisdom of an old man. Wants his home and security. He wants to live like a sailor at sea. Beautiful loser, where you gonna fall when you realize you just can't have it all? He's your oldest and your best friend. If you need him, he'll be there again. He's always willing to be second best. A perfect lodger, a perfect guest. Beautiful loser, read just can't have it all. Just can't have it all. You just can't have it all. Can't have it all. You can try, but you can't have it all. Ah, yeah. He'll never make any enemies, no. He won't complain if he's caught in a freeze. He'll always ask, he'll always say please. Beautiful loser, never take it all, 'cause it's easier, faster when you fall. You just don't need it all. You just don't need it all. You just don't need it all. Just don't need it all.
There you go. The great Bob Seger. I've not heard that song in a long time. Thanks, Tim Smith, for reminding me about that. All right, why don't we do a vinyl track of the week? Here we go.
And now, it's time for the Rock and Roll Geek Vinyl Track of the Week.
Thank you so much, friend of the show, Michael Street, for sending me this. This is a vinyl double album, double LP of the Replacements. It's called Replacements for Sale, live at Maxwell's 1986. I believe I saw them on this tour. We went to New York City with singer for Stevie Stiletto, Ray McKelvey, Stevie Ray Stiletto. We went and saw the Replacements at Irving Plaza. I believe they probably played around the same time as this. This is a great packaging, man. It's a double gatefold. I think it's 180 gram vinyl. It feels like, I don't know what 180 gram is, but it feels like thick vinyl. It's on Sire Records. Folds out. On the front cover, it's got Paul Westerberg's beat up Les Paul, and it says "For Sale" scratched into it. And on the back, it's got Tommy Stinson's beat up Rickenbacker bass. You fold it out. It's got a bunch of live shots from them playing Maxwell's in Hoboken, New Jersey. Recorded in 1986 when I believe Tim had just come out. Thank you so much, Michael Street, for this. I really appreciate it. I'm going to play something from this. I'm going to play something from Side B. It's a double album. I'm going to play a Kiss tune. They do Black Diamond. Here's the track listing on this album. Let me get talking to the microphone. Like a Professional. They open it with Heyday, which I believe is on Hootenanny. Then Color Me Impressed. Dose of Thunder. Then you do a cover of Fox on the Run. Hold My Life, which is on Tim, I believe. I Will Dare from Let It Be. Favorite Thing from Let It Be. Unsatisfied from Let It Be. Can't Hardly Wait, which at this point is unreleased. Paul Westerberg's doing different lyrics. Tommy Gets His Tonsils Out, which is on Let It Be. Taking a Ride, what's that on? Is that on Hootenanny? No, I think that's on... Sorry Ma, I don't remember. Bastards Are Young from Tim. Kiss Me on the Bus from Tim. Black Diamond is on Let It Be. Johnny's Gonna Die on Hootenanny, I believe. Otto, I don't know what Otto's from. I'm in trouble. Left of the dial. Goddamn job. Answer machine. Waitress in the sky. Take me down to the hospital. Gary's got a boner. If only you were lonely. Baby strange. Hitching a ride. Nowhere man. Go and fuck school. I'm going to play the last song on side B, which is a Kiss tune, Black Diamond. Let me drop the needle here. See up. I just put the power off. Okay, here we go. All right. Thank you, Michael Street, for this once again. I really appreciate it, friend.
Out on the street for a living, you know it's only begun. They've got you under their thumb.
There you go. Thank you again, Michael Street. And by the way, I'm reading this book, Trouble Boys, The True Story of the Replacements by Bob... Trouble Boys, The True Story of the Replacements by Bob Mayer. I'm about halfway through it. It's a very, very long book, but it is great. I just don't have that much time to sit down and read, but it is a very entertaining book. Replacements... The True Story of the Replacements by Bob Mayer, Trouble Boys. I may try to get Bob Mayer on the show. The book may be dead in the water by then, and he may not want to be promoting it still. He wrote the liner notes for this vinyl as well. It's like there's an inside sleeve that has that he wrote vinyl. It tells the story of the recording of this album live at Maxwell's Hoboken. It's good. That guy's a good writer, and you can tell he's a true Replacements fan. Thanks again, Michael Street, for sending me that. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to play one more song, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for listening, friends. I hope it wasn't too disjointed, but if it was, what are you going to do? Thank you, everybody who donated. Let me tell you how you can, by the way, thanks. Without your donations, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get it. Thank you for donating, friends. Find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. Send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Find me on the Facebook, RNR Geek. Find me on the Twitter, RNR Geek. Find me on the Instagram, rockandrollgeek, don't ask. All right. Let's hope I survive crabbing tomorrow and bring in some crabs. If it's too rough for me to go out, I'm going to keep my kayak on the truck, and I'm going to go out again Sunday. The wife is taking one of the dogs on a rabbit hunt, which I'm not going to do because somebody has to stay here with the rest of the dogs because Brian is out of town, so I'm going to be here alone. I'm going to go fishing tomorrow if it's not too rough. Then Sunday I'm going to go again if it was too rough on Saturday. Hopefully I will get some crab. I will invite Shockey over for some crab feast. And hopefully I'll survive. But just in case, I'm going to post this show tonight. Thank you for listening, friends. I really appreciate it. They can't all be professional. As a matter of fact, none of them will be professional, but I can promise you they are from my heart. And from my heart, I thank you for listening, friends. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to close out with a brand new song from Hardcore Superstar. They have an album coming out. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but this song was released about a week ago. It's called Have Mercy on Me. Thanks for listening, friends. We will talk to you. Let's see. Early next week, I think I'll post the Michael Street guest host spot and let the chips fall where they may on that one. Then I'll either do a Professionals track by track or a Darkness track by track. We'll see, friends. Let me know which one you'd rather hear first. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com or send me the Facebook message. All right, here's Hardcore Superstar. Thanks for listening, friends. We'll talk to you soon.
To break free, an evil spirit inside of me. Lord, oh Lord, it wants to break free. Salvation, please to see the devil in me. Salvation, how can anyone be so lame? I wanna rock and roll, I won't entertain. How can anyone be so lame? Oh Lord, have mercy, mercy on me. How can anyone be so lame? I wanna rock
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.